Hey YouTubers, I thought I'd make a little video showing my experiences of the Team Associated Rival MT10. So I've had this for, I don't know, about a month and a half now, and yeah, it's taken a beating. I thought I'd get back into RCing as I did it when I was a kid, and always liked the monster trucks. So looked out there, and luckily these were still on sale. They've sold out everywhere now because of lockdown. So I thought I'd go for it, buy one. Bought a 3S battery as well. I didn't want to get a 2S and then have to upgrade to a 3S. So I thought I'll just go for 3S and yeah, give it a go. One of the problems I think on my end is the fact I've been watching too many videos of bashing, and people have got these Armour Craytons and these Traxxas Sex Max, and they are doing these kind of jumps that I've been trying to do on this, and just cannot take the jumps like those bigger, stronger trucks can. But it is quite a strong truck, I must say, from what I've experienced, and it goes fantastically fast. It has been breaking, and because of lockdown, all the parts have been really difficult to get a hold of. So I've had to make a few mods myself, which I think have improved it. The shell, for instance, has taken a beating. I've actually tried to do a repair because it's just split. So I've got some plastic and glued it across there, see if I can make it stronger. It's completely broken away here. I've actually glued some plastic on the other side as well, so hopefully that will hold until these come back in stock. I've also done the same one here. But one of the first mods I did to this was and as people have said when I watch other videos of these, the brakes are a little bit sharp. So my first speed run on this in a car park, I hit the brakes, bang, straight on its roof, and then just slid. It slid for about 20 feet, which scratched up the roof, and the little spoiler at the back kind of broke it off just here after a couple. So what I did is I made these out of aluminium and sprayed them up and screwed it from the other side, and yeah, as you can see, it's been on its roof quite a few times, but they've done the job, and yeah, it slides great on there. I also made this little spoiler for the back as well that screws on like that, and yeah, as you can see on this, it's taking its beating as well. I've had to take this off now because this whole thing had split away, and I think a lot of it was to do with this. When you land them upside down, it's just too much for the shell to take, and where it doesn't flex like it should, it just broke away. But for the slides, I don't do the slides anymore because I've kind of learned how to control the car. It's a lot better. But as a truck, it seems to be pretty good. I haven't had the normal breakages like other people have, where the swing arms go, and I've had a couple of people who I've seen that landed on the wheelie bar, and that's broken off. But I haven't really had those issues. It's been a pretty good truck. So couple of things I will say, I don't know if anybody else has got one of these and had the same issue. It has little wheel hubs sit over the nuts, so little hubcaps, and yeah, they lasted about 2 runs and then they were gone. And also the standard nuts you get, they haven't got the plastic inside that keep them on, so they came loose, and yeah, I lost a couple of wheels on runs, speed runs, or out in the dirt. So I had to buy some new nuts as well that's got the plastic in them that hold them on there, so they don't come off so much anymore. But that seems to be working quite well. So let's take the top off and I'll show you some of the mods I've done underneath. It's a little bit more difficult to get off now because of this, but there you go. There. Yeah. So the first obvious one is the mounts for the shell. So it has like a plastic mount that kind of sits with a little loop in it here that where these sit in, and it kind of bends around and comes up this side and mounts on here. And a couple of jumps in skate parks, landed on its roof, and it started to split, and then another one, bang, gone. Only was a couple of hits it only took for that to break off. And I was looking at them and I was thinking they're pretty weak anyway. But I actually bought some bits from B&Q. I bought some of this stuff. It's like aluminium. I don't know what they actually call this stuff, but it's pretty strong. And what I did is just made these mounts here and screwed it straight into the shock tower. The actual original mounts mount a little bit lower down on the other side of this here, on the shock tower. But these ones, yeah, I've screwed straight into the shock tower, and yeah, they haven't broken at all. Even these bits have held up quite well. So I've had to drill out and bore it out a little bit more just to get a little nut and bolt through there. But yeah, they're pretty solid, both sides, and they've yeah, done their job, laying on the roofs quite a lot, and yeah, taking it. Another thing I've done inside is the motor does get quite hot, especially when you're doing a lot of speed runs. So I bought a little heatsink and fan for it, sit on there, plugs in to the receiver there and runs this. One thing I had earlier on is one of my crashes, I actually split the wires to the LEDs, and I did a repair on the front one, and then the backlight went out and I can't see it split anywhere. But I was doing I was out on a little bashing run, and the car just completely cut out and just stopped. And then you turn it off, turn it back on, and the front lights would come on for like about half a second, then go out, and it was just completely dead. And I thought, oh, I've blown the ESC. Well, that's what I thought I'd done. I've blown the ESC. I'm doing speed runs, and turns out that somewhere, I don't know if it's the repair I've done here or in the back here on the LEDs in the rear, it's shorted out. And so I actually unplugged these. I unplugged the cables, fired it up, and bang, straight away started working. So I've left these unplugged for now. I might just take them out, or I might try to put a multimeter on it, see if I can find where the short is. But yeah, saved me by buying an ESC. I was looking at those, and they're quite expensive, and also they're out of stock everywhere. So it's quite good that I didn't have to worry about that. But yeah, this fan's good. Keeps the motor nice and cool. Yeah, and it's very good. Another thing, because I like bashing it and I love skate parks and I love going big in the skate parks, one thing I've found is the oh, I've got a call coming in. Let's decline that. Okay. Yeah, one thing that I found is it bottoms out on the chassis so much when you're landing. It doesn't matter how much spring tension you put in here, it just bottoms out, bang, all the time, and it was just driving me nuts. So what I thought, as I looked at, when you take the suspension and the shock absorbers off, how far this sits down is actually governed by the actual length of the shock. So when you take the shock off completely off the shock tower, it actually sits a bit lower. So I'm thinking, oh, maybe I can get some longer shocks. But trying to find those and trying to find the ones that will fit this car has been quite difficult. So what I've done is I've actually made these little brackets here, and what I've done is just brought down the actual shock tower a bit further down. It's given it a little bit more travel before it actually hits and bottoms out, because before it would bottom out and then you could still lift the wheel up even further. So I know that there was more there, and I really didn't want to keep slapping the chassis. So I've made it a little bit longer. So when you push this down now, I don't know if you can actually see this. So that's actually pushed to the bottom there. I'll talk about these bits soon, but yeah, you push it down, so it doesn't actually bottom out. But if you push it a little bit harder, then it does. When the tyres get squishy, that's when it does bottom out. So I think for the front, it's absolutely perfect. I haven't run it yet, and so I don't know how much of the driving characteristics it's changed. I can imagine quite a bit because it sits high, and I had to adjust the toe because now it sits higher. And I did the same on the back as well, these little shock mounts. So this is using the same material that I used for this, and just cut off one side. So it's actually got, because it's got an angle, it should be really strong. And yeah, mounts into the existing shock tower, and then just got a little nut and bolt through in there to hold that strong. But on the back, yeah, so the back sits sits higher as well. But the back does still bottom out. But it's got so much travel on that now, and it's really hard to push it down. So I'm going to take it for a bash tonight and see how it handles that. One of the other things I've had to do, let me just flip you over. So when I first bought this, a couple of runs, and then you've got the skid plate here, and this little, oh god, let me get the camera around here. This little support here broke off. I don't know if you can get the camera in to see this. Not really. There's a little support just here, and that broke, which meant it was only supported. And bear in mind, the whole front is actually supported by these screws just here, these hex screws, and then there's two bigger ones on the other side, and that's what holds the whole front assembly onto the chassis. So what I did as a interim while I was waiting for the part to be delivered is I made these up to actually support it, and it did a really good job. But what I also found is when you're going out to dirt tracks and there's lots of flints and stones you kind of got to watch out for, they bash into this, and it was so the actual skid pan was quite badly beaten, and this thing here has actually done a really good job in saving the car really. And also I thought, because it adds the extra strength there, I will keep that going. So that was pretty good. The other thing as well, what I had to do with these, they have the servo saver on these, which is pretty good. The problem is it keeps coming loose, and it's a bit difficult, not really taking it off, but it sits just in here. So yeah, it kept loosening off. So when you're driving along, you just had no steering because the wheel was so big and heavy, you just wouldn't turn, and the servo saver would just take up that slack. So what I did is I got it to a position that I thought was the right position, and I shoved a little bit of glue in there just to hold it in place. Problem is that was a little bit too tight, and then stripped out the servo arm. So I had to get a new servo arm, and because I've got a new servo arm, I've got the aluminium one, but the actual original one drops down at an angle, so it goes underneath the actual the support arm here. So I've had to get my Dremel out and then just cut into here, so there's actually room for it to sit in. Yeah, so that was another mod there that I've done, but it's done good, and it's quite strong. The only problem I did have is I had this sitting a little bit higher, and I was doing some jumps and going over across some rocks and everything, and it caught the hex screw here and actually bent the hex screw and then bent this up, so I had to get it in a vise and straighten it out. But I saved it. I mean, that don't cost much anyway. But another thing I will say is if you buy the Team Associated spares for this, and when you buy this plate here and this skid part here, you get quite a lot. So you get the back gearbox cover, underneath gearbox cover here, and you also get this part, you get a whole new front end, and you get loads of bits that I didn't really need. I only needed this, but you got the whole lot together, and it cost about £15. But I don't know if you guys know, but the Healing the Venge is the same car, just a little bit older, and this is kind of badged up version of it. So this part here you can actually get for about £2.50, just this part, and it comes with this part here. So you can get the two bits, and it's actually pretty good and pretty cheap, and does the job. So I broke one and I broke another one. So I've fitted two. This one's actually the Healing the Venge one. What I broke on this side was another big hit going across rocks, and it's the where you've got like a second steering arm just in here, just to support it and even the steering out. That snapped off in here, and I made a mod for it, did the job, but then because they were only £2.50, bought another one. And there you go. For the last mod that I've done, I've changed the pinion gear on here. So it comes with a 12 teeth pinion gear, and I've changed it to a 14T, and wow, the difference. It is a wheelie machine. You're going flat out, and you think you're flat out, and then you squeeze it just a little bit harder, and then bosh, it just up on the back, and it's great. It's got so much power and torque, this motor. It's very, very good. But there you go. That was longer than I wanted it to be, but there's quite a lot to talk about. So I'm going to take you to the skate park tonight. Also, this thing here, WL Toys, it's about 50 quid. This is the A version. What a brilliant little car. I have actually bought all the replacement bits to upgrade, because one thing, the steering on these is a bit shocking and doesn't centre correctly, but it's a tough little car. There you go. So I'm going to take that for a little spin later as well. Anyway, so I might send you another video, let you know how it gets on. All right, laters guys.